1.2.1.5 Describe Azure Physical Infrastructure. Summary. Microsoft Azure is structured around core components, physical infrastructure and management infrastructure, divided into regions and availability zones. Regions are geographic groupings of data centers for low-latency operations, while availability zones within regions ensure resiliency and reliability. Azure helps deploy services efficiently across these areas. Availability zones in Azure are separate data centers within a region with independent resources. They provide redundancy to safeguard against failures. Zones are essential for maintaining high availability and accommodating mission-critical applications by replicating services and data. This setup involves costs but supports services like VMs, managed disks, and SQL databases. Azure employs region pairs where one region backs up another in the same geography, mitigating interruptions due to disruptions. Not all services automatically replicate, requiring user configuration. Region pairs limit downtime by staggering updates and maintaining data within the same jurisdiction. Azure's sovereign regions offer isolated services for specific legal or compliance needs. Describe Azure Physical Infrastructure. Microsoft Azure has various essential terms like regions, availability zones, and resources. These form part of the core architectural components that are crucial for understanding Azure's structure. Azure's architecture is divided into physical and management infrastructures. The physical infrastructure handles data centers and networks, while the management infrastructure deals with user access and resource allocation. Physical infrastructure. Azure's infrastructure begins with data centers, similar to those used by large companies, with equipment organized in racks and supported by power, cooling, and networking systems. Azure operates globally with data centers across the world. These facilities are organized into Azure regions and availability zones to enhance resilience and dependability for vital business tasks. Regions refer to geographical areas housing multiple data centers linked with fast networks, ensuring efficient resource management for balanced workload distribution. Users must select a specific Azure region when deploying resources, though some services and features are restricted to certain regions. Still, some global services don't necessitate region selection. Availability zones exist within regions and consist of separate data centers with independent systems, providing an isolation boundary to maintain functionality even if one zone experiences issues. The zones are interconnected through rapid, private fiber optic networks, further bolstering their reliability and ensuring consistent performance for users. To keep cloud services available, Azure employs availability zones in many regions, ensuring your systems can run even if an issue arises. Not every Azure region has availability zones, so it's important to consider zones when designing applications to safeguard services and data. Using availability zones means you place and duplicate resources like VMs and storage within zones, ensuring critical applications remain operational. Understanding costs is important as transferring data and duplicating services across zones might lead to additional expenses. Azure categorizes its services into zonal, zone-redundant, and non-regional services, influencing how resources handle outages. For large-scale events impacting several zones, Azure's region pairs allow service failover and resource replication, boosting resilience. Azure regions are paired to ensure that if there is a major failure, at least one region in each pair can be restored quickly to maintain application uptime. This is part of Azure's strategy to provide stability and resilience during outages. Updates in Azure are rolled out to one region at a time within each pair to reduce the risk of application downtime. This systematic approach helps maintain business continuity for customers. Data is kept within the same geographical area as its paired region for legal and tax reasons, except for Brazil South, which is paired outside its area. This ensures compliance with regional laws and regulations. Most Azure regions provide mutual backup for each other in two directions. However, some like West India and Brazil South are paired in only one direction, which affects their backup strategy. Brazil South has a unique pairing with South Central US, deviating from the usual geographical regional pairing structure. This unique pairing outside the typical region allows it to maintain operations despite geographical issues. Azure has specially designated regions called sovereign regions, isolated for compliance needs, such as US government and China-specific areas. These regions serve unique clients needing dedicated environments for operational and legal reasons.